Shalom, shalom, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I just want to provide a garden update. I tried to do it on Facebook Live, but I had a few technical difficulties. I have no idea why that keeps happening. But hopefully I can complete a video and show you everything that's going on in the garden. Because there are a lot of new things, and I want to share with you. And there are a lot of lots of growth that I would like to share with you as well. And hopefully this will inspire you in growing your gardens. Okay? And here's one of the new changes right here. This was something I didn't want to do. I'm not a really big fan of buying tomatoes that start with big, better, or early, if you catch my drift. And this one is a big beef. It's supposed to be a beefsteak sized tomato, a beefsteak tomato that grows between 8 and 16 ounces. Because of the thing with the culture leaves, I wanted another big tomato, and I'm hoping that, you know, I get enough tomatoes so I can have it for fresh eating and for salsa and everything like that. This one is organic and non-GMO, so despite the fact it starts with big, I don't anticipate saving the seed for this. This is just going to be a one season thing, and hopefully I can save enough culture leaves if I get some culture leaves, you know, for subsequent years. And so, yeah. And this is a basil plant that I transplanted from one bed to this. This was a volunteer from last year. And tomatoes and basil work really well together. Not only do they taste good together, but they grow good together. Okay. And right here are the culture leaves. Okay. I am so hoping that I could get one of those 3-pounders that I read about when I purchased the seeds. Okay. And this had 3 plants in it, and now it has 2 because I put the third one in here. I know it looks a little sad and it looks a little limp, but when plants are transplanted, they go through a little bit of shock, and this is what happens. So eventually it'll get acclimated and thrive. And again, I have a basil plant here and one here from the bed that I transplanted it from. So I'm hoping that I can really see a 3-pound tomato. That would be awesome. Can you imagine how much salsa you can get out of that? All right, and over here are the cucumbers. And look at the growth from the last video. Okay, note to self for next year: buy 2 packets, use 2 packets. You know, I put at least 5 seeds per container, and in this one and this one only 1 germinated. That's a little disappointing, but despite that, I hope that I can get an ample amount of cucumbers. You know, I would like to have enough cucumbers to make some pickles, as well as use it in juice and use it in my salads. So I'm really hoping to get a good harvest of cucumbers. Okay, right here are the green beans, and look at that growth. Isn't that amazing? Look at it. And hopefully, because of this beauty, I shouldn't have any issues with Mexican bean beetles. That, folks, is the petunia plant. And so that should protect these bean plants from getting eaten, and will continue to look as healthy as they do now. All right. Over here is the corn. And this corn bed is where I got those basil plants from, because the year before I planted peppers, and I like to plant peppers and basil together as companions. And so I transplanted the basil and put those with the tomatoes back there, because one thing I didn't notice is that with the corn, I noticed that it was starting to tilt forward, which I found really, really weird. So I was wondering whether the basil was an antagonist. And doing a little bit of research, I found out that it was not. However, I didn't want to take any chances. Maybe they were tilted over because of the rain, but I did move most of the basil to other places where the tomatoes and peppers are. But I'm hoping that I really get some corn, because every year I try to get corn and it doesn't do very well. So what I need to do, I just fed everything and watered everything and weeded the beds. So I'm hoping, what I need to do actually is make some nettle tea, and hopefully that will keep it hungry and keep it satisfied, because corn is a heavy feeder and nettle is full of nitrogen. That's what corn likes. So I'm really hoping to get some nice fat juicy corn, ears of corn. I really am, because fresh corn is absolutely delicious. Okay, and here is the Golden Acres cabbage. Again, I just watered everything, which is why it looks kind of down, if you will. And these were the new seeds I planted about a couple of days to a week or so ago. And I'm really hoping to get some nice green cabbage. I use green cabbage in my vegetable stock, which I hope eventually to put the recipe on my blog, Teachers of Good Things, at teachersofgoodthings.blogspot.com. I also use green cabbage to make sauerkraut. And homemade sauerkraut is absolutely delicious. It's a lot better than that pasteurized heated crap that they have in the bag that you serve once a year in the winter. Ugh, that's the stuff I hate. But when I had fresh lacto fermented sauerkraut, I fell in love. Matter of fact, I just made my Isha batch, and now I'm about to make me one, because he likes his plain. I like mine with tons of garlic. So I don't know if I want to have enough cabbage for that, but I'm sure I'll have enough heads to make some vegetable stock, if anything. But yeah, it's just a start. Eventually, as I said in previous videos, I plan on moving these bins and putting raised beds. And once I get the raised beds, I can definitely grow more cabbage and other things. Okay, here's the broccoli. And look at the plants. Decisions, and that I don't know which ones to keep, because they all look really, really good. And somewhere in here, the head will grow, and hopefully this year will be the year where I'm successful in growing broccoli. Broccoli is one of my Isha's favorite vegetables, and so I'm hoping that I can really grow this for him. And so yeah, I will definitely keep you updated, and then I'm going to see also if there's anything else I need to add to the broccoli food-wise to make sure that it flourishes. Okay, right here is the okra, and the plants are growing really well. The seedlings are looking good, and I'm looking forward to getting some okra to again make with some stewed tomatoes, or maybe fry them up, or just eat them fresh. If you eat them fresh, there's a chance that it won't be as slimy. So yeah, or pickle it, or do something with it. But you have to have okra. I look forward to this again with some stewed tomatoes and maybe some black-eyed peas. Absolutely delicious. And right here are the collard greens, and look at the one on the left. Well, both of them are looking good. This one, even though it's a little sad, but I'm sure it'll still flourish. However, look at this one. Isn't that amazing? I want to have nice collard greens that I can saute, and I don't think it's going to be enough for a pot, but it'll be enough to saute for dinner or put in a salad. And so there's some collard greens. My third garden, I was very successful with collard greens. I had huge plants and had like bags of it, and we froze it and cooked it, and it was delicious. I tell you, there is nothing like garden fresh collard greens. They are absolutely delicious, and they taste so much better than what you can buy from the store. Anything fresh that's freshly homegrown tastes better from the store. That's just a given. Okay, over here is mint. This is spearmint, and look how it's growing. It's coming back because mint is a perennial. And of course, I have to keep it contained in something like this, otherwise it will take over. It'll take over and choke just about everything in its wake. It's a bit of an invasive, so I'm looking forward to having some mint and teas and maybe putting it in some desserts. And honestly, I was thinking of a mojito tonight. Man, that sounds good, but I don't know if I don't have any white rum. Oh well, maybe another time. Okay, here's another changed from last time. I had to bite the bullet and buy some pepper plants. And I sort of kind of screwed up because I was hoping for these 2 sweet pepper plants that they were both red, and they're not. This one is a green pepper and this one's a red pepper, which is fine because I actually use both of them. You know, I'll use them in salads and cooking and everything like that. So it's all good. And then right here are 2 jalapeno plants. And again, I'm hoping to get a nice harvest of that, you know, to put that in salsa. And maybe I'll experiment with them once they turn really ripe, because they use ripe jalapenos to make sriracha. And sriracha, that is the stuff. That is some good stuff. So if I can make my own sriracha, that would be really, really cool. We'll see. Okay, right here is the cotton plants. And they're looking really good. And I'm looking forward to seeing some brown cotton. My first year I grew green. Last year I grew white. And this year I'm growing brown. So let's see the, you know, the gamut of, I guess, the cotton rainbow, if you will. I haven't seen any other colors, but if I do, I'm going to get it and grow it and see what it looks like. I think it's going to be really cool. Again, I know I'm not going to have enough to make a garment, but I think it's a really cool project. And just, again, know that we wear cotton every day. Whether it's our underwear, whether it's the towels and washcloths you use, whether it's like t-shirts or anything like that, it's cotton and we use it every day. So just a cool project. Okay, right here are the green peas, and I noticed a couple of pods. Look, there's a little pod, and here's one. And here's another one. So I'm getting some pods, and only thing I need to wait on now is for them to get nice and fat with some juicy, crispy peas. And oh, I love garden fresh peas. They are so sweet, and they pop in your mouth. It is just an absolute treat. And peas are so easy to grow. If you like peas, you have to try them fresh from the garden, and you can put them in these 5-gallon buckets. You know, you can get these from the Home Depot or Lowe's or any place else, but you know, you have to try garden fresh peas if you like green peas. I mean, I guarantee you that canned crap, you're like, what's that? You know, it's just awesome. Okay, over here are the Black Beauty and the Isis Cherry Candy, and they're looking really good. I'm still debating which of the black cherries to keep because they're all looking good. There's 3 of them in there and they're all looking really good. Decisions. And then here's an Isis Cherry Candy, and that's looking really good. One of my classmates in school I was telling her I was growing this, and she said she would love to see that. You know, she's Jamaican and she grows things in her. When she was in Jamaica, she was telling me the things that she's grown there, and she's never seen anything like this. So I hope that I can get a supply and take them to class so I can show them to her. All right, right here is the lemon balm, and there's a little bit of plant there. Lemon balm. Looking forward to making some lemon balm tea. You know, iced. It's nice and lemony and sweet, and it's just awesome. So lemon balm is really cool herb to have for both culinarily and medicinally. Right here are the beets, and look at the growth. Wow. I may have to thin some of these because it's going to be a little too much, and so thin these out, and then I'll have the amount that I'll need. Maybe I don't know if they transplant very well. If so, maybe I'll do an experiment and transplant some in here, or I might just put some more seeds in here, because you can grow beets all season long. It's no problem. So again, these are bull's blood beets. I'm used to growing Detroit dark red, so I'm switching it up a bit and checking out what the bull's blood are like. Okay, right over here is it's the red express cabbage, and you can see that it's going to be red cabbage from the veins in the leaves. And look right here, isn't that look really good? Just imagine a nice red cabbage. And I've seen videos in which people used red cabbage to make sauerkraut. That would be an interesting project. But I also looked to using red cabbage in coleslaw. You know, I can use it in coleslaw. You can use it. You can make. I think you can make different types of things with it. And I'm sure even it colors, so you can also use it possibly as a natural dye. So I'll be interested to see what all I can do with it, other than, of course, eating it. So that'll be really cool. All right, over here are the carrots, and the carrots are looking really well. I'm going to eventually have to come in here and thin them. That means get rid of some of the smaller, weaker plants so the stronger ones can flourish. Otherwise, there's not going to be a room for any of them to flourish. Normally, you plant a little extra as an insurance policy, and the ones that look the weakest you get rid of and let the strongest ones survive and thrive. And then right here are black beauties. In this one, I had 2, so I took one out and put it here. Again, it looks a little limp, but with anything transplanted, it has to get acclimated to its new environment. Because I had other plants here, and it looks like they've been eaten, and I have no idea why. And then here's another basil plant that I transplanted in there, and then another one here. Again, I told my classmate about this, and she's looking forward to this. Because looking at the seed catalog, it is black on the outside, and it's like a deep red inside. So they didn't do too well last year, so I'm really hoping to get a better harvest this year. And I have one more thing to show you, and hopefully it works. I took one of the red cabbage seedlings and put it in here. I transplanted it because, again, I like to keep the strongest one, and this one looked kind of strong. I know, again, it looks a little weak now because it was transplanted and it's going through a little bit of transplant shock, but hopefully it'll thrive and I can get a nice head of cabbage. And the reason why I'm putting them in these pots is because they're supposed to be small, 4 small spaces, so hopefully the head should totally fit in there. All right, and that is the garden. When I see something else new, I will provide an update. So until next time, shalom, shalom.